Hi, my name is Nick Shell. By now you've probably watched one of my other videos under this title, Free Life Coach. As I always say, I'm no professional, I'm no doctor, I'm not an expert of any kind. I'm a normal, average human being who happens to have a certain level of life experience and emotional intelligence that's able to help other people. I've got a certain method here, right here, victors versus victims. What separates people who are victorious in life versus those who always find themselves in a victim state of being? Well, I had someone comment yesterday because I was talking about your social circle, the proximity effect. Who's in that social circle? Who's giving you that influence over your life? Because if it's people who are like me, who choose to be victorious in everyday decisions, if you have more people like me, I assume you're a more victorious person. If you're surrounded by people who are bringing you down, you're more likely to become like them because they're influencing you. That's why you like me, Nick Shell, the Free Life Coach, because I can help give you that positive influence. And maybe I'm the only person in your life that's like that, then I think that's such an honor. But I had someone ask me yesterday in my video, they said, how do you get negative people out of that circle and therefore bringing the positive people in? And that's such a great question. Here's the way I look at it. I would never say to you, well, if you think that person and that person's negative, then just tell them that they're too negative for you and just, unfriend them on Facebook. No. It's not a matter of cutting people out. Check out my method instead. Instead of getting those negative people out of your social circle and your proximity, instead what you do is you just focus more on being positive yourself. And I think there's nothing wrong with saying that. To say to them, you know what? If I seem a little bit different right now, here's what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on complimenting others, embracing change, forgiving others, always learning new things, accepting responsibility for my failures, having a sense of gratitude, and setting goals and developing plans for my life. That's what I'm focused on right now. I realize the need for that in my life. Now, if you told them that right there, that'd probably, there's a good chance it'd scare a negative person away, because they're probably going to be intimidated by something like that, because in their life, what works for them is being negative, right? What works for them is tearing other people down and looking on the negative side and being sarcastic and those sort of things, right? So if you're up front with them and say that to them, there's a good chance they're going to actually leave you. There's a good chance of that. But if not, ultimately what I'm suggesting here is that if you embrace this as your lifestyle, being victorious instead of a victim, by default, you're going to develop new relationships, new friendships with people who are like you to begin with. You're going to find a way to have access to people like that. For me, it's always been my church. Whether I'm living here or somewhere else, I would always go to the church, and I'd find people who are like-minded like me that think like I do. Whatever that social circle is for you, whatever that group is, because we all desire to belong to a group, which is part of the reason you like watching these videos for me, is because I can be that for you. We all want to belong. It's a matter of finding that new group. And by finding that new group, as far as the negative people in your life that that honestly you need to get away from, you can invite them to the positive group. Chances are they won't come to it. They won't want to belong. They won't want to become the new version like you are, simply because it goes against their principles. Because instead of doing all those positive things, what are they doing? As victims, they're criticizing others. They're fearing change. They're holding grudges. They think they already know everything. They blame others for their failures. They have a sense of entitlement, and they never set goals. So a person who's like that is probably not going to want to be part of a group that does the opposite of things, especially that new lifestyle that you're embracing by being positive and proactive. So that's my answer to that question. How do you get negative people out of your social circle? You just focus on the positive, and I would be vocal about what you're trying to do in your life. I think that will run them off. And best case scenario, you don't run them off. You actually help make them more like you, and they follow you to where you're going. You become a leader in that case. That's the best case scenario. As far as your enemies go, and I know we're not necessarily talking about enemies because we're talking about negative people in your social circle, but Jesus said pray for your enemies. He didn't say attack your enemies, right? So we actually want the best for our enemies. We want the best for the people who are even bringing us down in our own life. I don't want them to get justice. You know, I don't want them to get what they deserve, because that means I'm going to get what I deserve, and I probably deserve a lot worse than what I've got, right? So I want the best for everyone. I want the best for you. I want the best for my enemies. I want the best for people who are simply the most negative people in my life. I want to see redemption in their life and mine. So I hope that answers your question. That's probably a strange answer, but it's the best one I've got based on my own life experience. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just an average guy that apparently is able to help some people through my free life coach system here. My name is Nick Shell. I'm not an expert. I'm just a normal guy. Hopefully I can help you out a little bit. And if you keep watching these videos, you better believe what's going to happen. I'll keep making more.